Yeah, and then if anybody wants to speak, just ask for the invite through the space. Let me know. Makes it really simple there. Let's see who else joins in though. But yeah, we just kind of wanted. To be together here. We want to do this weekly as our Sunday night spaces to interact with people, see what they like, see what they dislike about the YouTube channel, what they want to see more of. Kind of the whole point's to drive subscribers, get comments, get interactions, and kind of grow the channel. That's really the goal of everything here.
That's the idea.
That's the plan. We don't really know what we're doing. We're asking people that we know that seem to be successful what they did and trying to take ideas from it, but still be original within it. And this was something different. So, and I really liked it last week. That was fun. We had a good time, and
yeah.
I got a lot of positive feedback about how there wasn't just bickering and bitching and fighting. It was funny hearing Phil talk about it last night on PWT, where he was saying how it's always what he hears. And I'm like, yeah, that's. The IWC is always. I mean, the IWC is gonna IWC. They're always gonna whine and complain.
They don't set it up right.
Yeah, you could see that from the ones he was showing videos of. I mean, that was like way too many speakers at once. The way I have it set up is you have to ask to speak, or I can ask someone to speak. You can only have 10 people speaking at a time, and I can mute people and making you the co-host. We can stop people from doing that. If somebody comes in or starts flying with different language bots or different letter bombs, that's not what we're looking for. I don't really, but that's not the first time I've heard that that's happening either. I mean that. What was it? That guy, that Wes whatever guy who was acting like he was a teenage black kid, and he was a
I was in that one. By the way.
Oh, were you? Okay,
I was
anonymous. Funny. Good, smart.
I go into these anonymous so I can do research.
Yeah, you don't want to get any of, as Cornette would say, you don't want to get any of that on you. You don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
I sat in on some this week and did the same thing where I went in just in case somebody might have saw me and be like, oh, Jake will want to talk and speak. And I was sick most of this week, as you can kind of tell, so I didn't want to kind of bust in and do that. But I feel like if it's done the right way, they're fine, and they can be a ton of fun. But
yeah.
I feel like that's what people are looking for. They want the drama. They want bickering. I feel like that's going to drive views, or they're going to get your the gotcha moment. They're going to get that.
I'm too old for that shit, Jake.
Me too. God bless. I mean, like, that is literally high school shit, and I'll be 43 in a couple of months. I don't have time for that.
Yeah. Speaking of being old, I found something that popped up into my brain. You want to hear my filler story for a little while? So a recent story popped up that made me think of something. So back 81, my parents got cable. So I was a huge wrestling fan from 81 to like 86. And then I started getting into games. But my next door neighbor had the regular Nintendo system, and I didn't have any. So Acclaim pops up. Acclaim Games pops up, and my buddy had the Nintendo system for him. So we used to go over there and play the Acclaim games, which was pretty cool.
I mean, that was the one that was more like the arcade, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You realize where I'm going with this, right? Or no?
Yeah, my brain, I was trying to visualize the game, and there it is. Okay. It popped right in. Yeah.
Well, in 89, my parents got me the Sega Genesis.
Nice.
But Acclaim didn't make games for the Sega until 92. So I had been out of wrestling from 86 to 92, practically, because my son Drake was born in 92. So the first game I got was the WWF WrestleMania game from Acclaim. That was one of the first games they released for Sega. So I got back into wrestling via Acclaim games.
I mean, that's not surprising. I mean, the time I was probably most into wrestling in my youth was when the Nintendo 64 games had come out with, like, was it WCW, NWO, Revenge? WrestleMania 2000 was good, but No Mercy was like the ultimate game of all those games, especially too, since it was right around the time that WWF had acquired WCW. They didn't legally have the rights to all the WCW people, but they knew they couldn't get sued because they had bought the company. So you could have all those people's movesets. You could easily make all those characters and have their entrances and stuff and have, the ultimate games going
The reason
through.
I mentioned it was because Mr. Jeff Jarrett's bringing back Acclaim, I heard.
I do. So what is that about?
The Acclaim branding is coming back.
But, like, in what capacity? Is he really doing it, or is it like...
He's not going to be doing any of that shit.
Well, I mean, like, I know he's not specifically, but, like, is the game... Is it actually going to be the company, or is it the company in name only? Is it one of those things?
I haven't... I've looked at... I did a little digging beforehand. I really couldn't find too much. That's why
I remember, I mean...
into it, and we can get some input on that.
One of the whole big things of... the Fight Forever game was that they were going to be getting like I was saying, the N64 games. Those were all made, even though they're both companies, they made by AKI or Aki Games, and they were supposed to get those people back and get it right with Ukes and have all those people back, and the game turned out to be literally the worst game ever. From what I've heard, I never actually played it, but I saw enough of the videos and glitches that it was.
Yeah, during the acclaim announcement, they don't mention AEW one time at all.
Ooh.
Jeff Jarrett's talking; they don't even mention it. So I'm thinking that this is going to be like the original logo I saw, the acclaim logo. You can't miss that thing,
right? With like the dashes off the A. But isn't that twice now where they've had major announcements done by the company they're working with? The last one was Max, and they're not mentioned at all. I mean, Max mentioned cycling. I mean, I know it's big in the rest of the world, but I mean, Max is pretty much only a U.S.-based company.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this game thing is on their own with Jeff as a spokesman or something, because Jeff knows business. He's smart.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
The whole GFW thing, it was kind of a multi-level marketing scheme, but yeah, I mean,
right, but that's if you're in the right spot of the Ponzi scheme, you're like the smart businessman, as long as you don't get caught.
Well, then what is the wrestling industry in that regard?
I mean, that's a very valid point, Sam. I mean, let's be real. Like, I mean, there's a reason why most of the wrestlers are everyone that's successful in the wrestling business is some level of carny. Let's be real.
Like, let's be honest. A lot of these podcasters who like were big promoters in the 70s, it's like you could imagine how many people they fucked over, like how many wrestlers they shorted for pay.
Oh God, yeah. I always think of the line. Cornette always quotes it, but it's Dutch Mantel, where Jerry Jarrett asks if they're on steroids, and he's steroids. But you pay us, Jerry. We can't even afford to be on food. It's like, Jesus. I mean, or I forget which promoter that they've talked about that literally would pay it like down to the pennies. Like you would get the envelope and it would be, $47.83. Like you can't just round it up to 48. Like,
I think that was Nick Goulas.
Okay, that makes sense. That tracks. It was either that or like maybe somebody inside. I bet you it's more than one if you added them all up. I mean, that's as carny as it gets.
It's good bookkeeping.
Or they took you out of like if they sent you to go do an event or something like that, and you got in trouble or something happened, and that you had to come pay $50 and they took it out of your paycheck. Like, no, you sent me to the event. Come on.
Well, I mean, like, I would say the last true like high level scumbag promoter, Paul Heyman, even though the WWE won't admit it, like just like how many people he fucked out of paychecks. Like, then again, ECW's payroll was not very large, but
he never did it in the sense of like wanting to be the scumbag. It was very much robbing Peter to pay Paul. Like, we're going over here and we're going over there. It was very much that kind of thing, as opposed to, Nick Goulas that, just wanted, or even like Jerry Jarrett, where isn't that what pissed off Jerry Lawler, was that they had that big party at Jarrett's house and he's in a fucking, 10-acre mansion, and Jerry's got a nice house, but Lawler's not even comparison. They're supposed to be partners, and Lawler's bringing in all the money. There's at least some difference of it, but
yeah, it makes you wonder where Jeff learned his trade from, even though his dad ended up hating his guts later on.
Yeah, he hated his guts because his son became him.
He hated his guts because of Russo. That's why.
Yeah, Vince will do that to people. Like I can't even listen to clips of Russo, even if it's gonna be funny and him burying himself, because his voice is just so nails on the chalkboard.
It's a tough one
anymore.
I will agree.
It is. I save it for literally. I can handle about 15 to 20 minutes a year, and I save it for the Dark Side of the Ring episodes because I love that show. So
I like when he has Al Snow on, because Al Snow completely ripped into him on one of his episodes about like him.
Al Snow is great. I mean, Al Snow is awesome. Like that. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me one bit.
Him creating the whole shoot promo craze in the 90s and like burying the business in the process.
Hey Jake, since you brought it up, brought it up, which one of the dark sides you looking forward to this year?
Hang on. What are the 10 episodes? Let me pull up. I know the first one is the
I have an unsung one, and I'm really looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the Daphne one.
Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be a rough one just because of the ending of it. But I feel like enough people had said enough good things, especially after it happened. Like, there's enough people about it that'll want to speak well of her. So I feel like that'll be.
She was a great worker, dude.
Yeah, no, like, well, and I feel like sometimes you get people that are. Oh, the Muhammad Hassan one is the one I really want to say because they actually have interviews with, was it Matt Capaldi or whatever his name is? The guy's Italian.
Mark Capaldi. Yeah.
Mark Capaldi. Thank you. Yeah. Him, I really want that one. I'm interested in a lot just because he hasn't done that many interviews with it. The Tony Atlas one. I think that's going to be more funny. Yeah, thank you. Whoever laughed there, that's the response. I was like, oh, God.
Perfect.
Yeah, dark side of the foot. Like, let's be real. The Sheik one will be good too. I mean, there's never a bad, as much information as you can get on Shamal for. Like, that's going to be good. And at least from what I heard, they've got good interviews for it with Sabu, Rob Van Dam. I think they even said his wife too. What are some of the other ones? Vader will be cool.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, and I feel like that one will be one of those ones where, like, I mean, Cornette wasn't a big part of Vader's career, but he was part of it. But, like, Jim knows enough of the history and enough of the world where he can just kind of be the narrator almost. Which, thank God.
Have you ever gone back and watched his? Have you ever gone back and watched his matches in Japan where he Inoki, right?
Inoki, yeah. Where he squashes Inoki.
And the riot happens.
See the It's very rare, like, when you watch those matches, not only because the film's extra grainy, but, like, the audience in Japan was trying to be very stoic. You never see, the only other time you see that big of a reaction is when, like, Brody or Abdullah is running through the crowd swinging at people, and they're running away. It's just,
That was anybody else, or was that it?
What is the other one? Superstar Billy Graham. That's another one that'll be really good.
Ludwig Borga.
Oh, yeah, where they found out that he's got SS tattoos. That's fun.
Easy.
Yikes. That's going to be scary. That one's going to be interesting because I don't really know much about him.
Nobody knows anything about him, dude.
That's always kind of the cool, interesting ones. Like, was it last year? Chris Colt. I had never even heard the name, and that episode was probably the most interesting one overall of last year.
Exactly, because it's new content for you.
Yeah, it's something completely different. Oh, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert too should be pretty interesting.
Oh, they got a good season then.
They're gonna get Cornette on there for Eddie Gilbert.
Cornette's gonna be in like 6 out of 10.
Yeah, right. He's
You already say it's in like a whole half.
I forget
everyone.
Yeah, I forget. I mean, he had one of the two producers on the show, and he's in the Vader one, Eddie Gilbert, Muhammad Hassan, because he trained Muhammad. I'm sure he'll probably talk about Tony Atlas a little bit. Hell in the Cell, he's going to be a big part of. I mean, for God's sakes, he basically invented the match, for crying out loud. So
I really couldn't believe he wasn't on the Daphne one.
Well, I feel like they were more like passing into that. Honestly, it's like Stacy knew her better than he did.
That's a good point. Yeah, good point.
You know what I mean? Like, shit, bring her on there. She'd probably be awesome.
Well,
but I'm really excited for the new season.
Yeah, me too.
Especially because it's been at least twice where people are like, "Oh no, it's canceled." I remember when the dirt sheets were like, after they paused for a bit to do the Tales from the Territories, like, "Oh, it's canceled. They're not coming back this March. It's canceled."
Yeah, like no one's ever heard of a split season before.
Right, or like the fact of going on hiatus to do something else, which was on the same network. Freaking idiots. And then what's the other one? Oh, when everyone was saying how Vice Media was having bankruptcy or whatever, but what's odd is that Vice Media is technically actually the magazine for some reason. I don't know why they're named that way. And so the TV station had no issues and wasn't going to have a problem.
A lot of people were wrong.
They just reported them wrong.
Yeah. But a lot of them were wrong. They were more wrong than right.
Yeah.
Oh, what a shocker. It's because they all want to be first and not want to be right. And they're just making assumptions of like, oh, well, that usually happens in business. Yeah, right. Okay, that could be, but is that not what's happening now? Like, let's see this story. And I remember hearing there's the two kids for the Dark Side. There's the chubbier guy and then the skinnier guy. And I remember he was on
Jay and Silent Bob.
Yes, pretty much. They really are. So Jay was on, I think it was Busted Open, because I don't really watch that show much, but I'd watch it with him. And I remember it was like he was being interviewed. He's like, none of that's true, by the way. Like, we're filming this 5th season now. Everybody calm down. Just report whatever you feel like. It's fine.
Quick Daphne question. How much of an influence does Daphne have on the character work of like women's wrestling now, because there are definitely a few characters currently that I see have heavy influence from Daphne, Tatum Paxley in particular,
Nikki Cross, Alexa Bliss.
Here's one.
Wendy Xu.
How about Rhea Ripley?
Yeah. I mean,
think about
technically.
The different way. Think about it. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, no. It's one of those things too, where it's like musical influence. You don't have to have it. You don't have to like take all of the part of it, but you can just take, this part of what they do, or really enjoy how their rhythm section is, or how the lead singer is, or their presentation. It's one of those things. I think that's probably one of the reasons why that episode also will be really good, is because everybody knows the story as a whole, but you don't really know, the movie version of it. This could be more like the book get filled in on the details of like, oh, that's why X happened.
Now, she was just with David Flair, right? That was it?
I was just going to say, I'm like, they're not interviewing him, are they, Captain Redface?
They should.
I mean, they should, but what happened to him? I feel like after WCW TV, nobody saw him ever again.
Probably for the best.
Wait, was that Grandmaster Sexay?
No.
Do I have that wrong?
No.
Grandmaster Sexay is Brian Christopher, who was Jerry Lawler's son.
Okay. Wrong.
No, if you go on the Wrestling Bios channel and just watch any of the recent Raw versus Nitro episodes, David Flair's been in a lot of them. There's one where he has a match with Bischoff, and it's literally the worst.
Oh, that was terrible. I remember that.
Have you seen the episode of Wrestling Bios though, where the guy's trying to watch it, but he just records himself live, and literally it's just him laughing at it, like he's trying to call the match and he can't. It's so funny,
dude. It was bad. I remember when that was on TV.
Oh, it's so bad. I forgot how bad it was. Yeah. No, shout out to the Wrestling Bios channel. That channel's awesome for not only the Reliving the War series, because it's 2 episodes a week that shows, stuff from the Attitude Era, but he does really good in-depth biographies that aren't just telling the same stories everybody else is told. Like there's that like Wrestling with Andy channel.
Is that on YouTube, Jake?
Yeah. Okay. Wrestling Bios is what it's called.
Thank you.
The guy, it's funny, he's similar to Husey. He's got the same Northern Irish accent, but he's really good. There's another channel that's called Wrestling with Andy that tries to be that, and he's terrible. Like he gives facts and then like, that's wrong. It's like watching that Andre the Giant documentary on HBO where you're like, no, that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all.
I'm familiar with David Shoemaker.
I didn't have to say his name, and you got that's great.
I'm a Bills fan, so
I'm sorry.
You're forgiven. We all have our crosses, George.
I have no problem with Bill Simmons. I don't even really have a problem with David Shoemaker as a whole. I just feel like he's got an idea of what happened, and he's embellishing on that versus doing the research.
Oh, since you brought it up, I'd like to make a public apology to Mr. Peter Rosenberg. He's very good on Evolve.
Yeah,
he's good. Well, it's actually good. Him and oh god, I forgot his name.
Yeah, he's not bad. It's I feel like the comparisons are always him and Sam Roberts, and well, I mean they're weirdos from New York that love wrestling and have podcasts. They're very similar in aesthetic.
Who's the dude he's team with on Evolve, Jake? I forgot.
Stone, Robert
Stone. That's it.
Yeah, well, thank you.
They're actually very good.
I wasn't thinking Robert. I was thinking the Mr. part for Mr. Yes, no, they are pretty good.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the second episode of Evolve yet. I need to. I literally have Tubi up on my TV. No, that's good. I enjoy it.
It's worth it.
I have to say,
yeah. Well, especially if it's free, it's definitely worth it.
I have to say this about Evolve, like Zeta Steel is going to be the next up and coming character worker in women's wrestling coming up through NXT. Like just from what I've seen of her like indie clips and what I saw in Evolve, Jesus, I was fucking rolling. She's hilarious.
It seems like, I mean, the thing is now too, it's like they play to people's strength. Like they don't, well, you look like this, so you should be this. Like it's like Miles Bourne. Like he happens to be hilarious, so they're letting him be hilarious. Like that dude's got a great sense of humor and has no problem making fun of him for being deaf. So he just takes that away from anybody who tries to make fun of him for it and plays it back. And he's just that guy needs to be pushed to the moon. I love that guy.
Let's play the Alt Jake drinking game where he mentions Miles Bourne like 500 times in a podcast.
Now, having been with him through all these, this is the first time I've ever heard him mention it. Am I right?
I mentioned it more into my retweets because the guy's got a great Twitter game. The guy's hilarious.
You mentioned it a few times on the Revolution Spaces.
I don't remember.
That might have happened. Yeah, that was a long show.
we were
that
show.
He looks so much like Kyle Fletcher, but not a douchebag.
Well, to be fair, and I don't remember who made this point. Maybe it was you, Jake. But I mean, he is 27, 28, so he has time to, learn out of bad habits.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, I mean, if all else fails, he can.
He's got himself in tremendous shape, guys. Tremendous shape. He looks solid, Belcher.
Oh yeah, he does. And you know what? If he needs to pull a Matt Cardona and work the indies for a while and kind of watch his wife get a little more popular than him, that's fine.
Ain't gonna happen.
Oh, hey, Marie.
That ain't gonna happen. He'll be with AEW for a while, and when his contract's done, WWE might have some NXT for him, I think, but we'll see.
Who's his wife?
Sky Blue. I mean,
girlfriend. Right. Yeah. No. Yep. Nope. That was brought up by that time of the show. I was a little bit toasty in Minecraft by then. It was a long pay-per-view, man. It's a long show.
I was just overwhelmed because everyone kind of started talking over each other at that point.
That was probably the end of the show. We all got a little too excited.
Well, that and the thing is we all knew the cage match should have been the end of it, and we're just trying to avoid having to talk about that main event. Like that was, all knew it was going to happen, but it was worse than we all thought. It was so bad. I've
been anti Moxie for at least 4 years at this point. It just further solidified why I personally and I think I forgot who put the clip of Moxley doing the stomp earlier today, but I think I commented, "Oh my God, I forgot for every horrible word I've ever said." And that was fucking terrible.
I mean, Jake and I were talking off air a little bit before, and we were trying to figure out where they're going with this, because not only was the main event so bad, they're going to bring it back on Wednesday.
They really are,
man.
That's the main event for Wednesday's show. The winner gets to face
2 weeks after having it as the main event of a pay-per-view.
The winner gets to face Sorge Strickland, which again is backwards, but whatever.
Well, which is the second time they've done that.
More than that. So they've done things backwards.
Let's have a tournament for the guy who's not the title holder.
So it's holding a tournament to see who will just lose to Kenny Omega.
That's what it comes down to.
Oh, they bring Speedball Mike Bailey in, and they're like, "Guess what? We're gonna have you win this battle royal to enter this tournament to lose to Kenny Omega anyway." It's just so bad.
Which is their second terrible debut in a month, because they debuted Gabe Kidd on a taped collision. Not a regular one. Not that anyone would watch a regular one anyway, but a taped one.
Now
I get a pain behind my eye.
Jeff Cobb, WWE bound? Question mark?
Ooh.
Question mark?
Maybe.
Is Marie active?
I mean,
is Marie active to
talk? I think he would be good.
Jake.
I'm
sorry, is Marie active to talk? Where'd she go?
She's got. I put her on there.
She's got this, I'm here. I'm just having dinner and listening.
I was going to ask your Jeff Cobb opinion.
Well, Jeff Cobb said himself during his backstage interview that he was like, he woke up to all of the rumors, and he said it's not true, that the true thing is that he's standing right there in Osaka. So I don't know, take it for what you will. But with his frustrations over the last couple of years, I honestly, my opinion, I really do think that he should go to WWE. But yeah, just based on all the frustrations, maybe he does. But I don't have like a definitive answer. But like, everything can point to maybe WWE. But right now, he's focusing on the New Japan Cup, which I don't even know. He didn't go over because freaking Shota won, I believe. But yeah, that's all I know.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks, man.
No worries.
With his age, yeah, thank you. That any information we can have is helpful, because you could never rely on any reports, because basically the reports is, he's at the PC right now is essentially what they're trying to tell us, and he's in Japan. Like, mother, I think he'd be good in WWE. I think it'd be hard for him because he'd have to come in and establish himself, which he'd probably do through NXT. And at his age, might be better to go to TNA first. But
wait, I'm gonna jump in because I don't think because Jeff Cobb doesn't need to go to NXT. I could just see him be on the main roster and do similar things to what Bronson Reed does on the main roster as being that big guy. However,
just murk people. I like it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, come on. He has this like swinging like side slam called the Tour of the Islands, and I love that move. If I ever work up the nerve, I mean, I'll probably work up the nerve and be like, "Yo, can I take that move? I'll take that move. I'll take the bump." Yeah, I don't see him starting on the NXT. He already has a established profile anyway. Even if people are gonna be like, "Who's this?" You still know who he is. But I don't mind
over people. Absolutely, yeah. If you just put him over the right people at the right, and even if people didn't know who Jacob Fatu was, they knew in a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, they did.
Hard to book people properly. Yeah,
exactly. But I don't mind. Jeff Cobb to if he needs to go to NXT for showing some of the younger guys how to be a big man because there's a way to present yourself as a big man that you don't really need to do cruiserweight high flyer stuff. You don't really need to do that all the time. That's why whenever Jeff Cobb pops out a standing moonsault, it looks so freaking beautiful that this guy could do that. The same way where Jacob could do the freaking moonsaults and fly all over the ring. There's a certain art to being a big guy, No,
same absolutely.
Same with Zilla.
Yeah, no, and what's the other Hikuleo too? No, there's something to be said for the presentation of a big man. You don't need to only be a giant or hey, I can do all this stuff, so I'm gonna do it. There's a level. There's a mix.
Plus, I'd assume that he have to get used to the WWE with things of action and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's not gonna take long. He's a professional. He's been doing it
right.
For a while.
Yeah, no, and it's something too where as long as he wants to do, that's the thing. If you want to do it and are willing to listen and learn, they'll coach you up properly right away. I mean. They've shown that they're willing to put people over and do if you're willing to do the right stuff. I mean, again, Jacob Fatu is the prime example. Everybody was worried about his past and who he was, and it's who you are now. Go put in the work. Don't be an asshole. Hey, look, you're the most over guy on SmackDown.
Well, who was the last Samoan the WWE turned down? Think of it. Think about it. Or the last one that truly didn't work out. Maybe that was one of the Tongans, or I don't know.
Manu didn't work out. That's the last one I can say for sure.
Or
Sam Snooker, Jimmy Snooker.
Oh, was he Deuce or Domino?
You mean his sons?
Yeah.
Saul,
yes.
Oh, son, Domino.
Yeah. Domino. Okay, yeah. I knew.
That was a bad gimmick,
you don't find out until later, and you're like, wait, that was one of Jimmy Snuka's sons? Oh, God.
That was a bad gimmick. That was
and then got worse when one of them got hurt. So, no, that was real bad.
Yeah, let's make these Samoans.
Well, and then Manu was supposed to be part of Legacy and be in Randy Orton's thing, and he never looked like he fit in. The three of them were cut and fit, and he had the big Samoan look, but that was just never going to work in Legacy.
Well, what about Tonga really had a bad go of it.
Yeah, but really, okay, so people who pay more attention and care more like we do notice the audience, the casual fans or the people that pay and watch and go. They didn't care. They looked at him, you know what I mean, that big of a deal.
Isn't he on the cover of the game?
Well, yeah, no, I think he's on two covers because they do
having a bad time.
Yeah, he's having a bad time all the way to the bank. I feel like he's doing all right.
Well, he doesn't have anyway.
No, he does not. I mean, you got to give credit to that family that can have two guys with just making a noise that's gotten over and is their catchphrase. It's pretty impressive. You got to be super charismatic to get those things over.
I mean, Tama kind of sort of started the whole yeah thing in New Japan, just a tiny bit.
Well, yeah, I feel like I saw he did because I know they do the the press conferences after the matches and stuff, and I feel like he did one in one of those that I saw.
Yeah, he probably did when he was a heel. Yeah.
Yeah, just really quick, like as he was yelling at something, he was yelling at other stuff, and like one point in the middle, just yeah. I think, oh, hey, that worked.
Of the two, though, I've always liked Tama more, just because he comes off as so damn menacing.
Yeah. Well, and like because he's a little bit smaller, but like hangs out with the group, like everybody knows that crew that's got like the type. There's the one short guy in the group, but that's the guy you don't want to mess with. Like you might be able to take him down, but you're gonna be messed up from it. Like he's just gonna keep swinging until you knock him the fuck out. Like I can remember my friends in high school, our buddy Kyle, we loved him, but he would always be the one. Oh god damn it, Kyle, starting shit. And he'd do this. He's the smallest guy, and he'd go and find the big one. Just throw a punch. God damn it, Kyle.
He's the proverbial Perry Saturn of the group.
Yeah, but like it took a lot to take him down, though. He was, he was our scrappy dude. Just.
There's a dark side of the ring topic that would be interesting. The entering the mind of Perry Saturn. Just saying.
I'm surprised they haven't done one of those yet, because he's had some dark years, and I mean, anybody who gets a face tattoo like that, there's a story there.
Well, I mean, I don't know who had it worse, or John Cronin.
Well, and speaking of like the dark side, I think it was last season they were competing at the same time frame with A&E biographies, and Dark Side crushed A&E biographies on those. So is it something where like the new season of biographies on Legends is going to come after Dark Side? I know they haven't announced it yet, and I know they're going to do more. They've got there's a million they can do.
Dark Side comes on Thursdays, I thought, right?
It's Tuesdays. I was meaning like in general. They
I know what you're talking about.
On the same day. I just know like they ran at the same time. No, it's Tuesday the 25th is the premiere. I have it written down on my calendar because there's very few TV shows that I'm like locked in for, but that one is.
Are they still at 10 o'clock Eastern, or are they down to 9?
I believe it's still 10 o'clock Eastern, but being on the Pacific time at 7 o'clock for me, I can live.
You mean 8 Central?
No, it'd be 8 Mountain Time, be 9 o'clock Central. I'm at Pacific time now. I was at Mountain Time 2 weeks ago. We Arizona doesn't switch. We don't change our clocks. We change our time zone.
I hate daylight savings. I actually got enough sleep.
I've never understood it. I never understood it.
So since we have like a resident expert of NJPW, I'm kind of wondering, how's the current climate over there? How are things looking? Who's Tony Khan going to pick off next? A general update.
Oh, man. How much time you got?
Not that much, but just a summation, so to speak.
Hey, we're good. We're 40 minutes in. We were going to go at least an hour, so we got time.
Okay, so the New Japan Cup is actually good. Actually good. There are no AEW wrestlers in there. However, I would have liked to see like Jack Perry in there, because I was like, yo, if you're still part of House of Torture, get in there and make some stories. They're still moving a bit slow. They're still like doing stuff of like what New Japan used to do, but now it's like a former show. It doesn't feel 100% right. Sorry, I just finished my dinner. We're doing another Bullet Club Civil War shit. But this time it's with House of Torture, and I feel like they're rushing that. And with Gato being on the mic, and how David Finlay is going to win the New Japan Cup and then take the championship off of Goto, because Goto defeated Zack Sabre Jr. I think that once they give Finlay the belt, meaning the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship belts, he's going to go to WWE. I just have this feeling that they're rushing everything. It doesn't help that Gabe Kidd and Clark Connors, even though I love those two guys, and I have 2 interviews with Clark Connors, I love those two guys to death. Like, I think eventually people. What happened?
I said nice. Did you have the interviews with them? That's awesome.
Yeah. I just think eventually they're all gonna go their separate ways. Like, I just feel this. I don't know. I said it on my last podcast that I feel like eventually we're gonna have to say goodbye to Bullet Club. And I made peace with that, which is like kind of unfortunate for me. But it's starting to climb back. But man, I don't know. And to answer your question about who's Tony Khan gonna take next, I have no idea, dude. Because right now Tony Khan took all the major stars. There's no major stars that he can get unless like Gabe Kidd just wants to take the bag and be secure and his parents be secure. Like that's the only thing I can see going on. But as far as like grabbing another star, he took him already.
Clark Khan just doesn't work in AEW because of Cowboy already.
What happened? Say it again.
Clark Khan doesn't work in AEW because of the Cowboy. It's basically the same gimmick.
It's not really the same gimmick. One gimmick is more truer than the other. But Clark Khan did have a match against Swerve over on Collision, and Clark Khan has lost, so he took a payday. But yeah, one is more authentic than the other.
Well, and it's it doesn't surprise me though that it's like they're cruising to a breakup of their partnership with AEW, or the fact that there's no more. They have to make more stars first for Tony to want to steal them, and that takes time, as we've seen. You've got to be able to make the stars first. You can't just poof, you're a star, Daniel Garcia.
Yeah, no. But with New Japan, it's like they're like at medium speed right now, and I'm just like, you guys need to either hurry it up or change the terms of your partnership, or call up Pro Wrestling Nova to be like, hey, can we get WWE's numbers or get that partnership with WWE, because WWE is treating their partners way better than like what we're seeing out of New Japan and AEW, and I will always stand my ground on that, because it's like you can see it in real time. Those that don't want to acknowledge it in real time just don't want to live in the reality of it is.
Yeah, New Japan sitting there looking over the fence like, damn it, the grass is greener over there. I can see it. That's actually greener grass.
Also, if you follow Gato's Twitter account, which obviously by now we all know that he's the booker. You know, his Twitter account, I follow it, and like when you translate the tweets, even though they may not be 100% accurate, what it says in English, I'm like, yo, this guy knows something. Yo, there's something going on here. Like some of the stuff he says, I'm just like, you're talking about AEW, sir. I can be your voice for you if you need me. Like I've been doing this for the past, well, ever since they got the fucking partnership. I've been like, yo, there's something off here.
Yeah. Let me be that seriously. Is there we'll push that hashtag for you, Marie. We want to see it happen.
Yeah, it sounds like a very convoluted situation over there.
It is. It is only because like you do have to abide by like Japan, the copyright laws, and then like what New Japan does, and then over here in America we do our own thing. The other thing too that I talk about, but I don't think many people know this, but so AEW Dynamite, the long-lived, now dead Rampage and Collision and the pay-per-views are on the NJPW World website, which is like their network where you can watch NJPW on demand whenever you want to. I have a subscription. I always tell people to get a subscription if they can handle it. However, if you are not a Japanese citizen, you won't be able to tune in to watch AEW Dynamite and those shows, only if you are a Japanese resident. However, I don't know how many of these fans actually watch the AEW product over there with the Japanese subbing and the translations and stuff, because whenever an AEW wrestler like will pop up like for Wrestle Dynasty, it's crickets. And I'm like, is this really working?
Yeah, they don't know who the talents are. That's scary.
Yeah. That's kind of a hindrance, I would say.
It is. But you know, Tony Khan thought that like if they get into more markets by putting their product out there, it will translate well. And I'm like, no, dude, like you have to do much more than just be like, hey, let me get a spot on your network. What?
Yeah.
Gotta let the people know. Get it out there. Let them use your YouTube for the Japanese citizens. Can they access AEW YouTube and stuff? I'm assuming, right?
I mean, yeah, they can. They can. I just think Tony thought it would be easier for the Japanese citizens, whoever has a subscription to NJPW World in Japan, will just want to watch it right there and then, you know.
Tony,
but that's his problem. He just assumes that everyone's gonna want to watch it because he likes it. Like that's like thinking like that. You know, everybody loves, I don't know, ketchup on toast because you do. No,
yeah, right, something like that.
That's really not something everybody likes. You know, it's fine that you do. Maybe put that in one of your matches, but the whole show.
Also, I know we keep talking about this, but I did wanted to originally tell you guys the history of what do you call it? The whole daylight saving thing, since like many people do not know the history, and I looked it up.
Oh, because I mean, I know some of it, like dealing with like the farmers and stuff and that. But please, no, that's as someone who lives in the one state that doesn't do daylight savings, by all means.
Yeah, you guys
I
are
don't know fuck all.
So God doesn't punish you, Jake.
No, here's the thing, man. I live in Phoenix. We have enough daylight. We don't need to save any. Like we got plenty. I promise. It's sunny here all the fucking time.
Oh, it sounds like Florida in a way.
I mean, it's
not really
great. It's great most of the year. From like May to September, don't come here. You'll literally melt. The rest of the year's great, but yeah.
Okay, so the rest of the United States have to deal with daylight savings time because all the way back in the day when we used to like deliver packages. I don't know the exact like how many years like this thing has been around, but it deals with delivering packages because not every state, but like the chunks of state are in their own different time zone except for Arizona because they're special. So basically daylight saving times what it does is that what daylight saving times does is that it sort of makes everything sort of like equal in a way where they go and deliver the packages so that way they can get it on time. It's all about like a team business. So let's say that what's up?
That makes a lot of sense because if you look at how it's laid out on a map, it's not like it's a straight north-south line of like this is Eastern time and this is Central and like certain states half of it is Central time and half of it is Eastern time. So yeah, I could see how that would be based more off of that than just cutting it. It's kind of like they didn't just chop the country into four spots. That makes a lot of sense.
So basically, since I'm over here on Eastern time because I'm in New York, let's say that like I need to send a package to like somewhere else in the state, and I need it there by like overnight. That thing is gonna get shipped overnight, or if I need it there very quickly, it'll get shipped over overnight. The whole daylight saving thing is just to make sure that timing is at least equal. Even though like shit happens where like your package might end up being late, but at least it's on its way kind of deal. But yeah, that's basically like the most paraphrased way that I can explain history about it, that it deals with packaging, delivering, and making sure everything is on time. It's just an easier system for them. But I honestly think that if we like get rid of daylight savings time, nothing is really going to change.
Yeah, it mattered back then. It does not matter anymore now. We all have cell phones that literally change the time for us when we end up in a new if you fly from LA to Boston, when you land, like the time zone has changed on everything. Like we don't need it anymore. As someone who doesn't deal with it, we definitely don't need it. No, that's cool. That's good. Hey, I'm always for learning new information. So I mean, that's one of the things about our channel that we want to do is we randomly will go on tangents about historical things or stories that we've heard and things that we know. I like to think of myself as super observant, and I have a really good memory for things that like I'd be good on Jeopardy. I don't have a memory for things that are important, but they're fun stuff to know.
Yeah.
Well,
hey, Murray.
Yeah, what's up?
I'm going to ask one last question for you.
Oh, sure.
I used to watch NJPW a while back when it was on Access.
Yeah.
And I remember watching Okada matches back in the few years back before he signed with AEW, and I loved him. Loved him as a talent. Thought he was great. Some of the matches I watched at like 10 o'clock at night were awesome. What happened?
Man, yeah.
His body is shot.
I mean, it could be that too, but it's AEW that happened, dude. Like, I don't know. This is why sometimes if I need to talk about Okada, I will mention the NJPW Okada because like before Okada went over to AEW, he had this whole little feud with Kaito Kiyomiya, which I probably fucked up his name. He was from Pro Wrestling Noah, and he's a young guy in the business. And the day that kid decided to kick Okada in the face, it was 100% fuck them kids, and he beat the shit out of them. He beat the shit out of him to teach him a lesson, and I was like, oh my god, I want to see this Okada. This Okada is great, right? He's just gonna kick the shit out of everybody. And then that feud didn't really go that far, and then we got AEW Okada, and I was like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah, it's noticeable.
No, and that's why I'm still convinced. I mean, if you actually asked me, I would say that Triple H, when he was talking about embracing the grind, was really talking about people as a whole. Like Mercedes, Okada, Ospreay. But really just meant more of like, hey, if you want to go work 1 day a week for big money and not actually be part of something, that's what he meant. But if you were like, hey, was there one person specifically he was talking about? It wasn't Will Ospreay. It was Okada. Because if he put in the work, Triple H would have made him as big a star as he could in WWE. He clearly just wanted to take the money, eat some Twinkies and say bitch every on TV. And that's fine. I don't fault the guy for him, but I also don't want to watch his matches. It's very simple.
Yeah. Which is sad that like we've come to this conclusion as wrestling fans that are like, man, the whole mystique, the whole different perspective you get. And technically as like human beings, if we look at this from like a human being perspective, everyone has the right to choose what they want to do. They want to slow down, if they want to get the money, if they want to like start healing their body and like taking 1 day a week. We totally get it. But at least be honest with your fans, because the other thing too that I think that really kind of hurt the situation is that it was like, his goodbye tour on New Japan. Everybody was fucking crying. Even like Tanahashi was crying. He was crying. The crowd was crying. And then all of a sudden he shows up in AEW, and you as a fan that was crying because you thought Okada was going to go to WWE and you weren't sure if he was going to come back or not. You were like, oh shit, I may never see him like, anytime soon. But he's just across, across the waterways. Like, he could just go back anytime he wants to.
Working with the company that'll let him come back. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I was like, oh my God, Okada, what are you doing, Okada?
You nailed it. Like, that word mystique was a pretty good way of putting it. I feel like it was like, back before it was easy to get music from anywhere online, or like before you could like download anything. Like, you'd hear about a band that broke up and they were amazing, and then like you would finally get your hands on the CD, or like, hey, they're touring live for the first time in 10 years, and you go see them and you're like, that was it. That was what I was supposed to be all excited about. Like,
yeah, right.
Maybe they were awesome when they were 19, but at 35, they don't give a shit. They're doing this for the money, like that. And you could really kill your mystique like that. Like sometimes it's better to leave the memories alone.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's so true.
Sorry, yeah, no, and it's sad because like you want these things to be good. You want these things to be impactful and not embarrassing. Like, it's just what it is.
That's true, man. I rather wrestlers be honest with their fan base and be like transparent, straight up. Because then at least if they decide to be like, hey, I just feel like taking 1 day a week, being a part-timer. That's why like I really can't get upset whenever Roman is like, yeah, I'm a part-timer, or like John Cena's a part-timer. Like, I can't get upset because they're telling me straight to my face, yeah, I'm a part-timer. What you gonna do about it? Like, all right, cool, man. Like, you're a part-timer.
Or like with Punk, when he says like, hey, I'm not going to wrestle as many matches as I used to, but every match I have is going to be a fucking banger and you're going to want to watch it. And you're like, yeah, you know what? That is true. Yeah, no, I've been locked into every match you've had. Yeah.
At least Roman has an excuse for being a part-timer, though.
Because he has leukemia?
No, the chemo medicine.
The what?
He's still taking chemo.
Well, yeah, but I mean, regardless...
but 5 kids. I feel like that's probably gonna tire you out.
I mean, regardless of like the excuse, it's just the idea of like being straight up and being honest with people. Because like anybody could just have an excuse to like not want to be a part timer, but like that doesn't need to be said. Why the excuse is they don't want to be a part timer.
He doesn't use that as an excuse.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, well, and they've worked it into his character of it's like, hey, I'm bigger than, and it works for his character. That wouldn't work for everybody. But that's the beauty of where they like. That's why I like the dynamic of him and Cody when they always go back, because Cody's the exact opposite. He makes every town. He tries to wrestle on every show and sign every autograph, and Roman's more of like big timing him. It's cool that we have that going on right now, where there is so much difference in things as opposed to 7 characters that are fairly cookie cutter of themselves.
And then you have Seth, and I'm just gonna take the mic there.
And then you have Seth. I mean, hey, word on the street is he's dropped the freaking from his name, so maybe that means we'll drop the ridiculousness from the character. Cause serious Seth is great. Like when he at the chamber when he was just yelling, die. That's great. Like that is fantastic stuff. Or like, double foot stomping Roman. Like that's great stuff. Like where he's just angry and passionate and
Yeah,
more of a crazy person.
Marie, where do you think Tikla lands at?
Who?
Tikla? I don't know how to say her name right, but
Who? Wait, what? What wrestler are you talking about? I'm so sorry.
I said, where do you think Tikla lands at? AEW or WWE?
You mean Thekla?
Yeah.
Oh, Thekla. Whoa, it was just so jumbled. She's probably gonna go wherever like Clark Connors is going. I don't see those two going to two separate places, but she'll be great in WWE. Like AEW, nah, man, AEW they're not gonna know what to do with her. Even though she was feuding a little bit with Athena, like nah, she needs to go to WWE and be with
Here's
Julia.
the thing. I'm not sure who she is, but if it's female, don't go to AEW.
Yeah,
don't know what they're doing with the women's division right now. Just don't go there.
What the fuck did they do with Harley Cameron last night?
Oh my God!
Jesus.
They put her in a
hologram mask. Oh God, that poor girl.
I am all.
Oh, that's right. Harley Cameron was the last Samoan to fell in WWE.
This is where I do not envy y'all. That's a good one. That's a good one. Just that, I mean, there's just nothing going on in that women's division.
Yeah.
Just got your TV on in the background.
Yeah, if you're not speaking,
I'm getting.
I do. I'm sorry.
Speaking,
I just wanted to say hi, Jake, and everybody.
Hey, D, how's it going? Glad you're able to make it in.
I got my TV on.
You're fine.
I got the LTF on.
We appreciate. Oh, right, LFG's on. Yeah, no,
I was like, I had to turn it on. Listen, I just wanted to say hi and hey, I miss you guys.
Good to have you here. We are happy to have you for sure.
Hi.
Hey, Marie. Hey,
Denisa.
Yeah, that's Harley Cameron. I'm like, oh my goodness. Where they got? I had that mask on her. I was like, poor.
Yeah, I just that girl tries so damn hard.
I know.
She tries so hard, and she will do literally anything you ask of her, and they make her put on a fucking hologram mask. Oh God, I feel so bad for her.
Why are they dropping her for like this?
I don't know. And I mean, look,
because she got popular on herself by herself.
Exactly. Yeah, Bingo. Bingo.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he is Tony McCon now, and Vince would always punish you for getting over on your own. And yeah, it just think of what they're paying her versus what they're paying Mercedes, and if they push her, how much more over she would be. And yet they give Mercedes 6 belts and TV time, and nobody cares.
One question: do you think they would Kofi Kingston and Tony Storm to get Megan over?
To get what?
To get Megan over.
I mean, I think Megan can get. I think Megan will get over on her own because she's talented as long as they book her right. But
Megan Bain,
unfortunately, that's the only Megan I can think of.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, Megan Bain.
She hasn't spoke once yet, has she?
No, but I think that's her character. That the problem is
that was Camille's character too. Look what happened.
Well, I was just gonna say that can be your character. It's all about who they stick you with, and if they stick Megan Bain with Penelope Ford, that's not going to go anywhere. Why don't they stick Megan Bain with Harley Cameron? Have Harley become a crazy bitch and have Megan just murder people for her. Boom, done. Hell, Harley Cameron can play ventriloquist and pretend to speak for Megan. Fine. It'd be better than what they're doing for either of them now. Jesus.
And Penelope can go to some fucking mud show somewhere. Jesus, fuck her.
They got her and Ford with Harley with Megan Bain. I'll say, okay. I don't know what they're going to do with those two together, but...
Here's the problem, though, is how much can we really trust Megan Bain as a human being when she's dating Joey Nutella?
Wait, what?
I'm just saying.
What? Hold on, repeat that? Like, do we have proof on that?
Yes. Go on Megan Bain's Instagram. She was recently on a...
She literally watched him get beat up.
Okay, yeah, I saw that, but I didn't know they were together.
But like they're like together. Like apparently they live together and take. Yeah, I just can't. I cannot trust her judgment if she's dating that guy.
Oh my God,
that might make me an asshole. That's fine. I'm just the truth.
You might be okay with that one, Jake.
Hey, sometimes in life you got to be an asshole, you know.
Hey guys, we're gonna go about 30 minutes more, and that's it because Jake is almost losing his voice. So we're gonna go about 30 more minutes, and we're gonna cut it off.
That's fine. Save your voice, buddy. Jesus.
No, actually, what's funny is I feel better today. My voice is just kind of still shot. Like the last 2 or 3 days, I was a big old mess.
Yeah. So, like, what do you have exactly? Like, is it just a cold?
I don't know. I'm a 40-year-old with a cold. I don't know. And a sore throat.
Yeah.
Yeah, Megan Bain's most recent trip to London has her with Joey Janela. Oh, God.
Oh, God.
That is embarrassing.
He's a stable fellow, too, I heard.
Oh.
What was it a few months ago or maybe like a year ago? I forgot if it was Sean Sapp or one of the dirt sheet guys.
We don't mention that name here.
If you mention the name, you're obsessed now. If you mention it once, you're obsessed, even though he vanity searches his name.
To be fair, I'm autistic and I fixate on shit. So I can't help. I have a reason. I'm not a narcissist. But one of the dirt sheet dudes, I forgot who it was, like tried to put a story out about him, and he basically bitched out the dirt sheet guy on Twitter. That's the only respectable thing I've ever seen the guy do. But
he's interesting. Yeah. Hey, Jake.
Yeah.
Did you hear about last night at the Hog Show? What went down?
Where they had JD not call both his match.
Yes.
Now, did he not call all the matches?
No, he called he was out there for all of them except for Mercedes match.
So he got the Sammy Guevara.
Told him to leave the building.
So he got the Sammy Guevara treatment because Sammy Guevara was allowed on Dynamite when Mercedes wasn't, and then he's on Collision.
That's a whole different thing. That's a different promotion. That's just weird.
Yeah, I asked Marie about that earlier today, if there's any validity on that, but we haven't heard anything from JD.
I mean, like I said, the only thing that he did was put up an image of like the Shaman Ultra like soft paper towel thing with the bear and whatnot. Like that's the only thing that he put up, and that's going around Twitter. But I didn't know. See, no one clarified that like he just got taken off of her match rather than like the whole entire show. I thought it was the whole entire show, but
when I popped in, I heard him. I heard his voice. But
his unmistakable voice.
Yeah.
When he's not cussing people out and using racially motivated language on Mario Kart.
I was going to say that he's only
let's not bother with that.
Yeah.
My thing was on his show. On his show, he would bring up Mercedes, and he would say he actually said, "I will not comment on Mercedes due to the fact she's on my show this weekend." Because I heard him actually say that. And then this happened, so he was doing his thing like to keep quiet, I guess. And then
he does nothing but praise Mercedes. I don't see what the freaking problem is.
I agree.
I mean, he badmouths the booking. He badmouths Tony. I'm sure Tony just probably gave whoever runs Hog an extra 10, 20,000, whatever it takes of just get JD off of her match. I don't want him calling her match. I'm sure Tony's that guy. Whatever the problem is, just throw money at it until it goes away.
If that comes out like that, that's going to really be bad.
Probably just eating a bad burrito and had to go to the bathroom for the entirety of the match, probably.
Well, and that wasn't a bad match either. Like, her and Indy actually put on a good match.
Did Indy win or no?
No.
She lost, and I didn't expect
Indy
to.
Yeah.
Mercedes won. It's a sky blue.
Did Indy have the belt, right? Did Indy have the dog belt?
No, Megan Bain has the Hog belt.
Indy has the
scheduled for that.
Indy has some Australian belt. I forgot what it was.
Right.
And by the way, if you want to know, House of Glory is owned by Master P now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was.
Yeah.
You could have literally had me guess 1,000 people of who own that, and I don't think Master P would have been on my list. That's fucking amazing. Make him say,
Yeah. I was gonna say, remember when Cody basically said the line, and he talked about how Master P had a House of Glory. Amazing Red is still the head trainer though.
Master P is one of the smartest businessmen ever.
He is Amazing Red, so he's amazing.
Don't ask former Young Money or Cash Money artists about Master P and Birdman because they both kind of jerked their artists.
I didn't say he was a nice. I mean, we're talking like we talked about Heyman earlier. Like he was. I'm just saying for his own life and his own businesses, the man's done well for himself. I did not know he owned that. That's great.
Yeah, Master P has a son too.
Yeah, No, it's Bow Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Bow Wow
Wow's
and
his
his son
son.
hangs out together all the time. Mm-hmm.
No, I thought Romeo was his son.
Romeo's his son.
That's
Oh, is it
their
Romeo?
name. Romeo and
I
Bow
mean,
Wow
look,
are friends.
there's too many people with Lil in front of their name. I'm dyslexic. I get messed up. Yeah, sure.
That's true.
we will forever be known as the Lil generation when it comes to hip
Seriously,
hop.
I worked. I worked at a record store in college, and like when you would in the rap section of it, like 3 sections of it were Lil names. God damn it! Trying to alphabetize those was such a pain in the ass.
Right, since you mentioned the belt collector a little while ago, he's taking on Billy Starks for the ROH belt, and she's obviously going to win that because Billy Starks is 22 years old.
Yeah, 20.
That's coming. So she's going to have 5 belts, I think.
Yeah, that'll be 5.
And she would have won the hog. She would have won the hog belt yesterday if Megan Bain would have been in it, but they took her out of it
smartly.
Billy,
Jesus, don't bury her too right now over Mercedes. God bless.
Billy's got so much potential. She probably could be like the next kind of like pure babyface.
But someone's gonna hold her down. Mercedes. Mercedes.
I think the bigger issue here would be Tony. Because Tony.
Well, the bigger issue is Tony because of the ROH deal. Like, the CW reached out to them to get ROH on their TV, and he said no. Like that, and now ROH is on Honor Club that nobody watches and nobody cares about, and NXT is destroying it on the CW. Like that actually happened. So I'm gonna blame Tony on that.
How is he a successful businessman? Can someone remind me?
He's not, and he's never so. He just has his father's money.
I mean, that's not what I hear from Dave, who's like melting all over him. Are you going to be successful at the first quarter of 2025? Yeah. Well, we're almost done with the first quarter. Where's the success?
I was going to say some shit about Dave, but I will turn it over to Marie for that one.
I was just going to say after this, he's going to be like, all you guys owe me an apology, and I've been waiting for 7 weeks.
When you actually go to Tony Khan's Twitter page, it says owner of the Jaguars on there.
Wait, what?
He's not the owner.
I know.
Chief of analytics.
I understand all that, but that's what it says.
Sorry.
Quick question about Dynamite next week.
Does it say parody account also? You're parodying the owner of the Jaguars?
Shot it, and then
Tony Khan, owner, stats, Jaguars, owner, director of football, GM, sporting director of Fulham, owner of True Media Sports, owner, CEO, GM, AE, blah blah blah. But it says owner, stats, Jaguars / owner, director of football, GM. So fuck.
He's
Jesus.
like,
and he still has Rampage in there. It says AEW Dynamite, AEW Rampage. Motherfucker, that's been shut down for 3 months.
He takes credit for the Jags, and that's.
He also have Dark Elevation on there.
No, that he doesn't.
He is a minority owner, to be fair, but he's the head of analytics.
Majority owner.
Minority owner. Not even. He's a son owner. Your dad owns it. It's like Jerry Jones. His son's not the owner. Jerry Jones is.
Man, I mean, boy. I don't want to get angry. I don't want to get angry, sports fan, on you guys. Because
it's like how you say it's like how you're a teenager and you invite your friends over to your house, even though technically it's not your house. That's how it is.
You borrow your mom or dad's car, it's your car. Yeah, no, that's the problem with Tony is he's never grown up out of that age bracket. He is still the same mindset of that 13-year-old spoiled rich kid's always been. Which is why you can't take no for
fair, if you or I were in that boat, Jake, I'd be the same way probably.
How old is he?
But I feel, but again, and that's why I don't really blame him. I blame his parents.
Yeah.
I feel like my parents would have at least raised me to not be a complete idiot. Not saying I wouldn't have been anyway, because it's me. That's fine. But I would hope, because man, like the amount of decisions he makes, or the fact that like he claims to be a data and analytics person. And every data and analytical piece of data that he can see says, hey, what you're doing isn't fucking working. But all he says is, oh, we're on our greatest run of shows that we've ever had. I think these shows are the best we've ever done. No,
I would think with all the negative press about like his football team, both football teams, AEW, getting negative press was like a signal for him to like improve on something.
I don't think he ever sees it. I think he blocks it out. I think he's got people around him that block all that stuff out, and he never sees it.
He's got people that are like literal human blinders for him. Like they block his phone, block his eyes. Just it kills me.
Like the horse blinders, you know?
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
You make a great point, but you can't. I mean, there's no way you can't see it, but he's not seeing it.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Next week on Dynamite, you got Jon Moxley versus Cope. Is that going for the belt?
In a street fight.
Yeah, probably it's for the belt.
No, it's for the right to face Swerve at All In Texas.
Well, right, because whoever wins,
exactly, whoever wins that gets the belt, right?
That's not what they said.
Well, that's not what they said, but if Cope wins, he's not going to face Swerve for nothing. Cope's not going to win anyway, so it doesn't matter.
This is we talked about.
Okay, wait. I'm like give Moxley another belt.
No, Mox has the belt.
Another
well,
belt.
Mox says he has the belt. He has it in that fucking briefcase. No, this is all just so that Darby can come back and save the company as long as he doesn't die on Mount Everest.
He's got look. I keep saying he's just gonna freeze up there. Okay. like I said the last time we had this talk.
I mean,
he's gonna freeze. He's 88% water.
When does he go up there? When does this happen? He can't. I mean, it's got to happen sooner than later. Like for fuck's sake.
If the Young Bucks are coming back too.
They were apparently backstage at Revolution, so because that's the other thing. If it's not going to be Darby, it'll be the Young Bucks and Jack Perry to save the company, which will make the crowd go as mild as possible. Like,
well, he got hit by a bus on his way to the mountain.
Jesus.
No, but can we get the Bucks to get hit by a bus? I mean, Darby's already been hit by a bus. So
they look like they've been hit multiple times by the bus. Okay.
Especially the one that doesn't have.
We're in New Japan, right?
Huh?
Or no? Were the Bucks in New Japan?
No,
the Bucks were in New Japan for in January, but then they won the belts and then they lost the belts back, and then they've been gone ever since. But they were backstage at Revolution, according to the Mole.
Mm-hmm. But just so you guys know, Sam has his hand up. I don't know if he has a question or anything, but what's up, Sam?
I do, because I wanted to match on this can of gas and then leave. But who's worse at booking, current day Tony Khan or early 2000s Vince?
Yes.
Yes is an answer. That's such an answer.
That's a tough one. Okay, that's like asking which is the best murderer.
So here's the thing. The reason it's not so much the word at booking. It's hard to answer. Who's worse for the wrestling business is Tony Khan because he's fully in charge. Like, and there's just no telling him that it's wrong. The other issue with Tony is if he would just. Like, I get it. He wants to be in charge. He wants to be head honcho. He wants to be whatever he wants to be. If he would just switch the title from booker to promoter, he could do all of that shit and let somebody else actually book the matches, and there would be a chance for it to be good. But he won't because he's a fucking idiot and he thinks he knows everything. And I think Vince Russo was probably a worse booker because he did, Viagra on a pole match and what was the other one?
Reverse Battle Royal.
What was it? It's Julie Bagwell on a
forklift, yeah.
Match. No, that's my favorite.
The pinata on a pole match also.
That's my favorite delivery ever because Canyon, you can literally feel him just being like, I have to say this. The Judy Bagwell on a forklift match.
I'm not defending this decision, but I'm not defending this. But Tony,
that's great.
Tony has never booked himself to be world champion.
Valid point.
True.
Yes.
True.
It's gonna happen. Probably. Who knows?
Maybe.
And he also didn't give Jeff Jarrett a 3-year title reign. Fuck you for that in your early TNA days.
Well, that was mostly more Jeff than Vince.
But he's given us the Death Riders, so tomato.
Yeah.
That's more Moxley's feat than I. Tony, I blame Tony for enabling Mox.
But Tony's in charge. Tony's got the pen. Again, if Tony was the promoter and somebody else was booking it, okay. But Tony's the one. Yeah. He's the one telling you in the press conferences. He's the one clerking to John Alba. Oh, all this stuff you see, it's all me.
Unless it's
I
bad.
wish you admit that. This is the worst I've ever. Oh God.
Hey Marie.
It literally gives me a headache.
Hey Marie.
Yeah, what's up?
Before we wrap things up, you want to tell people where they can find you, please?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool, awesome. I wasn't really expecting that. I'm just here hanging out with a bunch of buddies. That's all it is. Anyway, you can definitely follow the Twitter at Marie_Shadows. You can follow my YouTube, youtube.com/Square Circle Podcast. I put up a bunch of new videos, old to new videos, some interviews, some of my commentary when I got booked on the indies. And there's a bunch of cool stuff on my YouTube channel.
Hell yeah.
If you just go to the link in my Twitter bio, the campsite.bio/Marie Shadows, that has all of my other links. I do have my wrestling newsletter, which is on Substack, marieshadows.substack.com. That gives you guys extra content. So if you ever want to know extra stuff, if I ever get, another run-in with David Metzler, if by any chance, just for an example, there's extra content on there cover my ass. Other than that, all links in my bio. Yeah, I'm gonna just go with that.
I do recommend it because she does pretty good content.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. No, thanks everybody for coming out and hanging out with us. Please go to youtube.com/@AltJakeTakesOn. Give us a subscribe, follow us, give us a like. Please leave some comments. Once my voice is better, we'll record another episode. We planned to today, but obviously I sound like shit. At least wanted to do this with everyone today. So.
Try some White Claw. That helps Tony out.
That's.
we're gonna do these.
Soda waters and Time Cop.
We're gonna do these every Sunday night.
Right now.
Sound like Jake when he fought Austin.
I enjoyed talking to you guys. I enjoyed myself.
Thank you for coming.
No.
Yeah,
we will do this again for sure. Next Sunday is my wife's birthday, so we'll either do this a little earlier or a little later in the day because we're doing dinner with my family, but we'll figure it out. But yeah, Sunday night spaces will be a regular thing that we'll do. 60 minutes, 90 minutes, 2 hours. It'll be fun. Thanks for coming out, everybody.
Cool.
All right.
Y'all have a good one.
Have a good one.